And considering that America is mentally retarded, they've already shown that, we in the entire community showed something else. We showed that you're like retarded babies that don't like to hear things. So we sent Disneyland to let you know. When you smash that girl's head in on the ghost lines, there are empty buildings on space sciences around the world. So Dickie and Van Damme is The Hague. I already have The Hague under my belt. I understand. And the Veritas design. And the Roman Tribunal is for the abuses. For the abuse that happened on the literal crawlies. Nothing happened on the Crawleys because I was living with the parents on the Crawleys. Or the dad. And for the mom, because I was also Crawleys for the mom. You say. I was multitasking. I was actually connecting the dots globals also for my own self on my Crawleys. Having said that, the parents obviously are the parents, so I already have The Hague. I already am a ghost child, so obviously the parents are more important. They wanted to make a paper extension to help the situation of prisoner. And so they brought back the girl for herself. Intelligence on an extreme level brings back Disneyland genetic grafts of the original Intel that had its head smashed on your coastlines in the US. You said it's California, no, it doesn't matter. It's the US. Let me explain. If you have space breaks and you have flyers and runners around, fogo on the coastlines, and between the Italians, the Brits, the Western Europeans, where I was born and raised, conceived in Saudi Arabia, born in the Vatican, you are as sick inside you, as bad inside you as a nation can get. So Cos Celebre with a Delft number is a plum in time. It was called the Wormhole Project of the United Nations to the worm. Now, you smashed that girl's head in on those lines, and it's the Manhattan Project of the 21st century. It's all news on the news today. So when you started speaking to me in the US about how bad the Europeans are, how bad the Italians are, how bad the Brits are, how bad the Germans are, how bad the Russians are, the Arabs, the Turks, this is a sickness in the US. Now, for me, how backward the rest of the China, everyone. To me, you're sick people. And even if I was abused as Disneyland, I'm not sick. By now, I'm a candle in the wind from Crab on Asswipe, but I'm not sick. I'm not sick like you are in the US. A child who speaks 5 languages by the age of 2 in Africa, who speaks another additional 4 languages by the age of 10, forgets the other languages, does not even learn her own languages, Arab, Turk, and Russian, and is already in Disney mode after you smashed her head in with no teeth. The ghosted child, the Indios, the ballerina, tells me, connect dots, that you are retards. I don't waste my time as a child learning new languages or new skills, because I already saw La Sapienza and space sciences in other countries empty because of new mathematics being empty. In other words, when Dirk and Van Damme at The Hague and the Bureau de Veritas said, your middle name is Maria Void, he meant it. When he says, I only defend children born with not normal space science, not normal, that the Dutch built the Netherlands, God created Earth, the Dutch built the Netherlands and the lowlands with engineering, and you were something else. But you're dead. You went through The Hague already. You came back. And there's a Scotland film to stay on road for retirements. Now, why did I come back like this as Disneyland? The intelligence community creates sometimes masks of children, dead children, or ghosts of dead children, if and only if It did something historic. I did. Therefore, the child that's ghosting herself around the capital cities is me. You stupid fucking retards. So when they said that those buildings were empty because one girl died and that the others did, the Mermaid, the Titanic and everything else with the nails, globals or in the UN and the basements with the plum hairs, the corporations or in Western Europe or in Woolwich, that's already happened in nails. If you are a genius, if you're phenomenal like I was, go ahead and do it yourself on the coastlines. That's my fucking brain you spilled on the coastlines, not yours. So, that was the Coast Celeb. That's 221. That's Ballerina Indios. And because I didn't have time to sit down because I was flying 92, 92 and above with the Barons and doing my shit elsewhere, and 85, 85 runnings of flyings, that many times around the capital cities, and then knowing at the end of 85, 85, the genetic ages of the Barons that I would die. In a way that most intel on the planet found repulsive, as in a smashed head in on the coastlines. Why do I say I? Because I'm the genetic graft of that girl. And the best analogy I can give you from my school is the Mac variant element is not related to the Bochron element. Now, considering you still hate me, because that's, you see, connect the dots global is even for me. So when you have psychos follow me into Frisco for Fresno, at the Dolores shelter with the Korean smelly asses and all that, trying to abuse me and stuff, which they did later on when I wasn't a crap, when I was more of a no resistance, so the candle in the wind. This is all on the assway. It shows that somebody's paying federal prisoners from LA who are born and raised in Fresno, who are boys and girls, who are on heavy narcotics, who are in federal prison in Frisco. On my little crawlies. Now, paying an Ukrainian psycho over there, we already know the story. You have shown to the world, US, that you're not worth shit. Shit. And you're giving fucking excuses for smashing that girl's head in on the coastlines and losing intel. That's why I talk to you on Facebook by now, because I only have 147-221 geological Disneyland rebirth, and because the whole fucking world knows this and it's already called celebrity with the nails. I'm not Junior. I'm not gonna fuck in those other capital cities around the world. I don't give a shit for your fucking East Coast. It's gonna Greyhound, Forrest Gump. We're not gonna waste time on retarded people. Okay. I wasn't born to prove anything. I wasn't born to break my records. It was already empty, those buildings. I wasn't born to speak about blues and pink. I wasn't born to speak about Ubermensch in Western Europe. That was a phenomenal. She had her head smashed in on the coastlines with her negatives. I'm not going to speak about that. About the eggs. You are retarded. I'm not going to speak about the big losses on the coastlines. I'm not. It's not legend or myth. It happened. Now it's become legend and myth because I'm Disneyland. The problem with you is you don't understand that intelligence, who was flying and running with me around the world, has the plum hairs, together with the professors. So if you have deans or heads of school at La Sapienza or in Woolwich or in Western Europe who had plum hairs with Jamila in the basements in the UN or in Woolwich or in Western Europe, long ago the nails, what are you going to change, darlings? Your own cheap tits and ass? My PhDs? Piece of paper? You blame that I'm a piece of paper. But you're not a piece of paper yourself. You killed the best on the science. You're paying for it till today. And there were losses of intel. That was the meaning of it. In the UN, in Rome, where I was born, in the Vatican at least, they were speaking in high school, for instance, about a black hole. Because if you look at the Wormhole Project to the worm, you see a black hole. In other words, the end of time, you know, when in the Vatican, when there's a crash. And they were looking at me and they were saying, darling, you were killed in America. That was the meaning. You broke the space and those others were with you. When you died, you left swaths of beautiful buildings and space sciences empty. And because the CIA worked with you, look, on 92 and above of the barons, they're retired in Fresno, correct? All the flyings. Beyond and above the library, that many flyings, correct? Around the world. And I'm working elsewhere on the coastlines, correct? Am I correct, you fucking piece of shit? Yes, sir. On 95, 85, the same. All the runnings above the library, above the roof. Correct? Correct! Right. That's the runnings 85, 85. You could say runnings and flyings. At the end of that, the feet hit the roof of the library and I had my head smashed in. I come back as Disneyland on my crawlies. Now, if you do that many flyings and that many runnings around the capital cities for the parents, if you're working on the ghost lines separately and you have your head bashed in, you love your parents more than your own life because you're one of those children. And you come back as Disneyland, you're not you, and the only thing that you have in common with you is your eyebrows. Then what does that mean? What is the meaning of 221? Okay. Now, because Western Europe could see this, the intel, the Italians, the Germans, the Brits, the aerospace, the Russians, where I come from, the Saudis, where I come from, it's over. The Arabs. I didn't even go to Turk, where Grandmama comes from. So I'm not going to waste the breath of course celebrities, a little life left and did that, to explain to you that America is worthless for intelligence of my kind. I now understand why the US is being attacked on a daily basis by bad intel. I realize it now. Congratulations. America was so arrogant that it smashed one of the best from before on the coastlines with its head bashed in. Me, her, that became it. Brought back Disneyland, called Celebrity one. Me. Then spat on my face again, called me all the names and trying to abuse me on the little crawlies. Wait a minute, we have the Roman tribunal. In other words, the Hague of Dirk Jan Van Damme is still standing because that shit's still empty, those buildings. Chibo, nothing's been reopened, not an iota. If anything, it got emptier, but bum ass. That's all news on the news, the nails. That's our intelligence. That's not yours. You see, that's what we're saying to each other. What you lost forever and ever. So when they say in Western Europe, what you lost is forever and ever lost, they meant that for me, those science buildings are fucking empty. Space science. That was new shit. Okay, it doesn't come in a microchip, it comes in the head. Now, if the head gets smashed in on the ghost lines and I come back like this, I am the 221 Delft Lowland Social Security number from Craft City. Remnant relic Olaf Sikabanki of the original girl. Disney. So when they said to me when I was a child that the Americans are Satanists and whores and bitches and assholes, and when I was educated in Western Europe and the UN, and they were saying to me your head was smashed in and the Americans are fucking cheap whores, they meant it. Do you understand that? Do you understand what the Skokland film is? To stay out of this country. What that I was in as a child. Do you understand that? Geniuses. Phenomena. Do you understand that? You didn't kill that girl. You slaughtered her on the ghost lines. You hated that girl. You smashed her head, her teeth, and everything. When this one came back on 221 as Disneyland, you still hated her. And we know who it is, because you brought him to Frisco. So you're showing to the world that you can pay psychos, or you can pay bitches, or Somebody can dislike me because, oh fuck, why did they bring back the dead one? As it says, the nails around the capital cities is already called celeb. I already have every religion and the Opus Dei up my ass since childhood, saying to me that the Americans are animals, sheepholes. They already told me that. I don't expect anything from you, US. I already am Disneyland. I've already seen Sutherland come back as Disneyland. I don't need your shit. Don't need it. So, when the intelligence community said to each his own, they were not kidding. When they say that shit was around with the Black Mass ages ago, they weren't kidding on the ghost lines. When they were saying that there were losses in the intel communities, a la grande, on the ghost lines, a fogo, they were not kidding. The problem with you whores is that that's because the intel died. Those are the short bridges around the world on the ghost lines. The barons are happily on retirements in Fresno. Oh yeah? In the middle of the desert, where the hanging benches of Laura Quintus and Nally Direct, my parents, or their parents, whatever you want to call them, were born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. That's not changeable. They were pioneer champions at the age of 5 for sports. That's not changeable. They were hired as directorates, D1s, in humanitarian relief services. They worked in 160, 180 countries, 140 countries respectively. That's not changeable. If anything, they're moving up. Most likely, they stay to D1s. They told me that they like the father and the mother more than the director general. They don't want politicals. They want pioneers. They want the dark beauty. They want D1s. They want those who change the world for the better. They want their work. And they have the hanging benches of Laura Quintus and Lizzie Langley, who grew up with me in Rome in the same hospital we were born, and Natalie Direct, rule of law at the age of 5 in your school, defending both parents, the father and the mother. Okay? The phenomenal child, or the phenomena, you smashed on the ghost lines is me. I am not me. I am not Jamila. And I'm not Maria. I'm your worst enemy. Disneyland is your worst enemy, US. With The Hague, with the empty buildings of space sciences in Western Europe, with the cause célèbre around the 80 capital cities of this world, with the Platinum House, with the beautiful space sciences empty, and with my head smashed on your ghost lines, so I can come back like Disneyland and make you feel like women and men in the US. How funny. I wouldn't be surprised if they made negatives of that girl in Western Europe, where she was born and raised. But that will not reopen the new shell of space sciences, or technology, or any cheap shit of cancer. Because whenever you have children like that, with parents like that, those children are extremely serious around the capital cities on the flyings and runnings. They don't have time for men or women. They don't have time for shit. Okay? Considering now I'm on the Crawleys, Little Crawleys, and they call me the dead Disney version of myself, I don't know what that means. Do you know what it means, US? It means you're assholes. Because if you met a girl or somebody who did those things, you'd be like, yeah, in America. Well, you smashed my head in on the coastlines. You don't go, you go, oh shit, there's losses on the coastlines, but I didn't give a shit while it was happening. That's what's famous. What was sanctioned by the Opus Dei in Rome, who was based in Rome. You see, America doesn't make the decisions of the Vatican. America doesn't make the decisions for Europe. America doesn't make the decisions for the inner circles of Woolwich. Martin Snowden with the White House Sciences. You were one of the best. They smashed your head in on those lines, box theory, or whatever you want to call it. The reason we brought you back. You don't speak about it, you don't have pretenses. You connected the Lord Scrobalio to thinking about the parents of Fresno. Of course you're going nuts. This is all news on the news. It's not even news. The Russians, where I come from, and the Saudi, the Arabs, that miracle, the US go, can you do with that? She had her head smashed in on the coastlines. It is better, the Barilla guy, ex-mayor, to lose with the most intelligent on the planet forever and ever, than to win with the fucking stupid assholes. It's a cliche. As much as I don't like cliches from my school, I have to say it. I'm nearing the end of Disneyland's life. And you deserve to be, that somebody tells you something, US. When, see the Holy Grail, let's check it out, everyone's going with the Holy Grail. We found problems. Oh. You see, you're not patriots, you're losing. Better to lose with a cliche of high school, to lose with the most intelligent on the planet, than to win with the stupid assholes. And while I'm saying that, Fresno's sitting there with the nurses, hoping to break me down again, a candle in the wind. That's why we have the Roman tribunal to solve for that. Yes, for me. That's not even mentioning the barons. You are as ugly a people. You complain about Intel attacking you and defense, and yet amongst yourselves, you lost Intel, and you're paying for it till today. That was called the Holy Grail. I have relics of that girl, blues and pink. The blues are far away from pink, far away from the original girl, and far away from the parents, because they're not me, and I'm not her. I'm the Disney version of her. I'm telling you that behind that girl, there is Intel itself. Reason? She's a mask of herself. She is the storyline of what happened on the coastlines that you called around the world worse than the Manhattan Project of the 21st century. So when they were speaking about that hole that was blessed of 221 stupid times in the Vatican, that was the void. They were speaking about the hole. But it didn't happen in Rome. It didn't happen in London. It happened here in the US on the coastlines of California, where you smashed that girl's head in. Because that's where the work was. It was in England, it was in Italy, it was in Asia. Wherever that girl did connect the those globals is where the platinum hairs are, and therefore where the platinum hairs are, where the CIA is, where the Manhattan Project of the 21st century happened. You want to make an extension of that shit to help and assist the parents of Fresno? You're welcome. I want to see where this goes. So, that's all news on the news. I can't change it, you see. So that's why there's a Scope landfill. So when you bring back, if it's just for a very short period of time, a Disney version of somebody, and you say, what the fuck, bitches? When I was in London and Western Europe, I was actually an assistant to the professors, okay? And they used to give me, since I was 16, 17, even if I was nervous, till today, admissions, grades, sciences, everything great. I would fail everybody. Everyone failed. There wasn't one student who passed, not even in my class. Because they could see that I could see not what could go wrong like anybody, like a 5-year-old. It was different. And if somebody was rude to me in London or Rome, they were dead the next day. I was literally Disneyland. I would say nothing. Which got, fuck you, bitch. I'll be like, okay, I'll ignore it. 2 days later, somebody would beat them up. They wouldn't kill them, but they just beat them up. Never seen their face again. And these local Italian guys sitting there with their little uniforms, no uniforms. British guys, London guys. And I'm thinking to myself, why all of this for a dead baby? And they said, that shit's empty because you're dead. And these people, either they're not normal, or they're just a bunch of fucking bitches. Just like in the US. So, why was Disneyland brought back? The Hague, the Bureau de Veritas, and the additional extras of the US, your psycho bitches and your asshole boyfriends trying to abuse the girl near the end of the number. Nearer the end of the number. Got very little of that number. Very, very little. You're gonna lose. You're gonna lose with those guys. And I'm gonna tell you that to your face, even if I'm dead. And that shit with the plum heads and the nails, the water ship down and the ship going down in Titanic, that's me. That's all news on the news. You ain't gonna change that either, connected those goodbyes. It's not your fucking ass worth shit. Disneyland is worth more shit to tell you the storyline with the empty buildings than your fucking ass. They could fucking genetically graft me and I'd still be more intelligent than you as Disneyland. You animals. But I'm telling you there's something behind that girl. I'm telling you there's the blues too. In other words, when the Germans got involved, they saw Ubermensch. They said the girl had her head smashed in on the ghost line, so she has Ubermensch in the UN. As ghosts. They call them the bacterias. Because they will never be able to reopen their buildings. In space sciences and mathematics, and sciences in Western Europe or other countries. In Massachusetts, in ISA, in NASA. That's my empty buildings in Massachusetts and DC. And Langley. They know that about Jamila. They know what she did in space science. They know her new technologies and new math. From Russia and Saudi Arabia and Germany and Western Europe and the UN and Woolwich inner circles. And stupid times. Schools, if you could call them. They know that girl had her head smashed in. They know that girl detested the Mossad. It's a 9/11. You stupid. You are stupid in America. That Disneyland has to be denigrated because you can't even listen to a little peeping Disney after you smashed her head in on the ghost lines. You crazy bitches. Blimp in time 221. Of course the ship went down with me, you fucking shit ass. You do that to me again. You smash my head in again on both sides and kill me here. What day? It's taking a second Hague. They can do anything they want. If you smash that girl's head in, go celebrity with the nails on the news. Take that water ship down, they can Titanic, they can do anything they want. They did. Changed. It's a concept. You knew about it ages ago. Didn't care. Blimp comes back to tell you I'm dead. I'm Disney. I hate you, bitch ass. Stick in a Roman tribunal. Kill her again. Second Hague. And you know what? Just because I'm Disneyland. Exactly. Exactly because I'm Disneyland. But you're already fucking sued with the Roman tribunal with millions and billions for sheep asses. Shut up. You already have the Hague of the Vietnam sitting there fucking. There's some people shouldn't be killed. Now, fuck that shit's empty. Good, darling. You killed the wrong bitch. Disneyland's back to tell you that. And that's not even mentioning the father and the mother. US. The many flies, billions and behinds and glory. The many rise. What the fuck is this? Disneyland? On the grows and little grows a baby. You smash your head in on the ghost lines. They're on retirement in Fresno, you fucking bore. Ass! Over there we have the ass of the donkey on the ghost lines. They make it look rosy through the baby. Hey, you're riding the ass, the donkey, so the W came back. You're so sudden. No, senora mia, this is a bad idea. She's Disneyland. I don't see this shit, mama. I can't look at it. I can't look at this shit up many times on the road. She's a Disney. That shit's up here already, motherfucker. They even ate that beautiful girl was had her head smashed. This super beautiful. You guys make them look like Disney. I don't give a shit. He got Jason Bowles out there and other ages. Move this shit. Moving on. Air it out. Old news on the news now. In other words, you're assholes. Put the best. And your bitches who don't understand even the basics, the tip, Greta Thunberg of that. I'll be sitting there and saying, I got a PhD. Let me see, look at this. I don't even give a shit. But if you start making it personal and you start hating my ass for no reason because I stated the obvious and not even a fucking country. It's like living in mentally retarded Stone Age. US. None of your people are going to fucking change that shit on the coastlines. Look, I'm in San Francisco where there's all the sciences. Why don't you change that shit? When Elon Musk moved to Texas. You can't, can you? You can't change the laws on. Were you the flyers and the runners around the world? No. Do you have the blood mass? Did you lose those buildings? Did you, when your ass was smashed on the coastlines, did you shut down La Sapienza and other parts of special math and sciences of the space sciences? Like me? No. So they always lump cancer. You know why? Not always. But if it's a broad stroke of sciences for the Russians or a broad stroke of sciences for Saudi Arabians, UN, Western Europe, it's usually sciences, that, don't know what you call it, kind. That we go can, pay back in can, now your time, you had your head smashed in, but I don't know. Basta! In other words, you make this shit look rosy through me, and I find that to be repulsive, this little baby nails. And whole fucking world's saying the same thing. From the very beginning to the end. You still don't understand it. So in other words, somebody has to go on the Facebook near the end of the social security number to make you think you're retarded. Just the basics for 5-year-olds. And then you still have pretenses for me. You say, I don't give a shit that we smashed your head in on the coastlines and there's losses and they continue. Okay, you don't care. But then you're Southerner for them. So when Western Europe made cause celebrity of this one, and they brought it back and gave all the blessings, they didn't give the blessings to you fuckers in the US. They gave the blessings to me. They said, what the fuck happened on the coastlines? That shit says blood mass, we have this, we have old news on the news. Okay, you didn't care. So why would the CIA have blood mass with those buildings empty? Because they reopened the butt ugly banks. So my question to the mentally retarded Americans is, how much losses do you need in the US? More. Because there's also the bad intel. There's not only the beautiful intel that dies, there's also bad intel attacking you on a daily basis in the United States. You're just retards. You're dreaming of things that you will never have, that you didn't have, and that you have taken for somebody else by smashing her head in on the coastlines. And you have pretenses. And around the world in 80 countries connected dots with bars, they're freaking out what the planet has because they're just looking at void. They're seeing death of intel. And they're seeing scientists who, with corporations and strength, seen phenomena and jumped with them. They jumped the boat with the girl ages ago, together with the Blam has. Whether it's Italy, or Germany, or England, or Russia, or Saudi Arabia, or the UN, connected those globals. Those are the Blam has. That's the difference between being the best and having your head smashed in and still having pretenses in the US. Because you don't remember Jamila, do you? You're shit. That's what you are. And lying shits. No one, like Dirk-Jan Van Dam, who defends the advanced sciences, the record breakers in space, the record breakers in mathematics, the record breakers, the phenomena, literally, not the geniuses, the phenomena. In The Hague, in the Bureau de Veritas, is going to come back and say, that's what you are. You're dead, baby. Keep your mouth shut. The Americans are sick. The Americans are mentally retarded. The Americans were jealous insanely of you. They smashed your head in on the coastlines. You're Disneyland. I've known that since I was 5 years old. Isn't the nails all news on the news, Globals? Weren't you geniuses, US? That's why I call you shit. And I could call myself shit too, because quite frankly, I'm dead. Therefore, I'm not myself. And if I'm not myself, and that shit's empty, then I can say shit. I can say a lot of shit for that. I can say bullshit, this shit, everything. All right. That's what we call the true real shit. The losses. Looking at Fresno, where the parents are retired, on all the flyings, 92, 92 and above, 85, 85, so many runnings of that girl and the cruelism, that's the retirements. They're boarding pioneer camps. Beyond the capital cities, they're D1s, Austria, TCY, USA, 160, 180 countries, 140 countries, I'm junior. Basta. You are shit. Basta. As a country. Therefore, the Skogland film. Now, if this is they were speaking about power games around the capital cities. Not only for the dead baby. Jealousy and all that shit colloquially and envy for the parents. This is the masses. You have to understand. You started a war in Fresno. You started all the flyings, all the runnings, and the crawlies of the girl. And while you were sitting on your fat house in California like nothing had happened on the coastlines or elsewhere within the US, even in Arizona on the bus, you were sitting there going like, who gives a shit? But the girl was busy flyings and runnings around the world. Germans are speaking about phenomenal. Britain is speaking about phenomenal. Ever since that girl had her head smashed in on the coastlines. That shit's empty. She's coming back with boys. You call those boys after you smashed her head in on the coastlines? That's not how you make them. They were made in Western Europe. And they're far away from the original Jamila, far away from me, the Disney version, who lives in the house, the trained poodle, far away from the parents. That's not even me. With those plant mads. Okay, I have plant mads too, but others. But that's something else. Let's connect the dots. Clubhouse, and I'm the trained poodle in the house. Alla faccia dei multifrutti. Start seeing what The Hague is. The Hague. Cause célèbre. Ship going down with that girl. The Manhattan Project of the 21st century on the coastlines. See it. See the nails. Understand the basics around the world. The wormhole project of the UN to the worm with all those guys in England and Western Europe and the others agreeing. Because the phenomenals don't grow on trees. Look at me sitting there saying to me, I got 10 million PhDs. Let me open my shit, you fucking piece of shit. Atlas Abenza in Woolwich. In other countries. I can't. There's all news on the news. Void. Okay. You look at the parents. They're born in pioneer camps beyond the capital cities. They're D1s. They were D2s, but they're D1s. They're the directorates. They're the directorates of small offices all through the USA that are humanitarian relief services. 160, 180 countries for him and 140 countries for her. I'll fucking kill you. So I did all the flyings and all the runnings. And what is this? The growlies of a dead baby coming out of Phoenix from the coastline. Phenomenon become Phoenix. Regalo una scusa, ma però no. This is disgusting. It's too much pain. It's being about me, the traverse. About the parents. Impressive. With all of that around the world and within the US, and you wonder why. There's the cats and dogs, the birds going around, there's the cement trucks for over 20 years, that many times in Europe. Then this. You speak about masses of people being upset. Well, the hanging benches of Largo Winters are not here. Look at the intelligence of Fresno. Look at the nurses who hated me with the 5X bras, the white ones or the Hispanic ones of Fresno. At the one hospital in St. Agnes, the crazy doctors. The hound dogs that became in the hospital scaring people became broke-ass dogs. Nobody liked that. Anyway. The Van Ness with the limousines. You don't look. The puppy dicks. The privates of Tom and Jerry Daratal. The man who's a 10 million wide born again creesh. The reputation of Fresno. From the beginning, there was a power. They're fucking crazy. You don't care. You see. You don't care for that girl. And that girl now has Supermensch in Western Europe. And the void is in your country. On the coastlines where the plum has. The pretenses are yours. Because you didn't kill Jamila. You smashed her head into bits. You smashed my head to bits. You ain't no God. In Western Europe, the Vatican says that you're the Satan for me. The Vatican, the Opus Dei himself, has been calling the US a bunch of cheapos and bitches to my face since I was 5 years old. That's why I don't go to church. I refuse to go to church and hear this shit. Bitch this and bitch that, I'll kill those bitches for you alone. I can't hear it. In Italy. In the Vatican. I can't. I refuse. I walk. I see religions, I walk. That was I'm a John Neats, eh? There's no go. That's because I hate reading Neats. You are animals, America. Animals. And there's no way that anyone. You go. You see all those girls? Oh, look at me. Oh, PhD. I see. And the one who broke the fucking space records and the science records and the fucking phenomenon, you smashed her head in on the coastlines. Now I got Supermensch in Western Europe. You got bitches. They're looking at Disney going, 2 to 1. Appunto, stupid time. Cazzo, she wasn't even alone to make it worse. Fuck you, And that's the old news on the news with the nail. Matt say changeable. Next. You've been trying to make this girl crazy for so long and you failed. Why? Because I have carroceria. I have truckers, literally, circling Fresno just to get the baby out. On my, not only growlies, lateral growlies. Look, when the lateral growlies, man, go on, take her out of there. Mamma mia. Baby. Huh? I'm about to... In other words, they're doing nuts. And the last few, I have very few words. I have like 147-221. I'm not saying anything secret. I'm not, divulging anything that's not already famous or known, beyond famous. Yeah, royal family don't get this freaking coverage around the capital city. There's cats and dogs going around saying everyone fucking bomb that shithole. Boy. Let me have this. You're intelligent. In other words, start seeing life for what it is. You don't need to know any advanced physics and stuff that's already empty. I'm dead. I'm not going to give you that shit. I'm her replacement. I'm the tripod replacement child with a social security number from Hook is Set, Graph City in New Hampshire. The parents are from New York and California. When are you going to get that? When, US? When are you going to get why you're losing? And you keep losing. And that's a good shit. You got the bad shit attacking. My bad, you're useless. You know, when they say the Holy Grail, in history, in the history of space-time, which is what that girl was famous for. I'll say which because I don't exist anymore. Which, and of course I'm using for the Baron's highest forms of internet, even for the little baby, they're finding ways to get out of this. But I can tell you one thing. She was witch hunted. And when I went to Rome, and again, and they just said, Jamila, they were yelling. You know what it is to yell in Italy? Whores, American whores, Ukrainian whores, connections in America, whores. And I'm looking at them as like, what exactly did the original girl do with those other guys on the coastlines? And that's what, because quite frankly, and they looked at me and they said, you know, there's phenomenal and there's phenomenal. That shit was something else. And I'm looking at them like, so you make it famous, darling, because if I'm Disneyland and I'm called Celebre, I'm going to believe a Disneyland version of 221, even if my face is familiar. You could say it in Italy, in the UN, you could say it with The Hague, you could say Western Europe, Germany, and London, and Woolwich, and Messaggero, BBC, Channel 4, so just, yeah, that doesn't bother with me. You could speak about it everywhere on the planet. But the US is so fucking callous and ugly for the parents, and let alone cheap ass for me. They don't look what names they even send the psychos after me. They were like, that's it. We've seen enough of this cheap shit of the Americans. We've seen enough. And that was the intel. It was the Western European internet. And now we have the blessings. All the blessings on the planet for that God. I'm looking at them, excuse me. But if I went through all that pain, excuse me, darling. You don't go to church to pray. You never did. You don't do it even now. You're too busy flying, running out of this. And everyone's different. You don't have parents like mine. Simple as that. You don't have to hang your bitches of Laura Quitters and Landry Rick defending both of them that many times. Look at the intelligence of Fresno. And look at the US, how it's losing on the coastlines. You are a losing nation. To them, you are the losers. They're laughing at you through me. Who's going to have the last laugh? Who's going to win? They're looking at you for what you are. To come to the point of desperation to bring back Disneyland is bad. I speak about Tom and Jerry Dartals, his buddies, his friends, blah, 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 keep him out, keep him in the Fresno. You don't see it. You don't see how ugly you are. And so when that dies on the coastlines, Bagazzo of all, with a head smashed in, that shit can roll, especially if it was phenomenal. That shit can go blah, 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 blah. I can't do I haven't invented anything. UN, Western Europe, in the circles, Woolwich's, Russia's, that shit going that's all news on the news now. You're stupid. And that's why you hate me. You hate me because you don't think. A lot of the intelligence that is new in space sciences and mathematics comes from Russia. It comes from Saudi Arabia. It comes from the UN. It comes from Western Europe. It comes from Woolwich. Or 92 and above. Parents are happily on retirement and friends I work elsewhere. Correct? No one said anything on all the flights. Yeah. What happened on 85 to run it? How many times? And then comes this. The rollers and the electric rollers on the go. Shut the fuck up. So, sending missiles to the version that they call the Disney of me says everything to the rest of the intel communities. They're not going to be bringing back a little one for nothing. You know, if that girl really had her head smashed in on the ghost lines, as Dirk-Jan van Dam said, with the Hague and the Bureau de Veritas, that's called celeb already because of what she did in intel. On the other hand, if you bring back a Disney version of the girl, it means something happened in history. It did, for the intels. You can't blame the ship for sinking ages ago. And that the US, huh? Where you kill her? You killed her there? No, you killed her here. So where did it sink? Here! You mentally retarded bitch. Why don't you do it yourself? You don't like hearing losses? Is that what you are so mentally retarded? That's what I was saying to you. I'm going on Facebook to show to you that the Americans are mentally retarded children that do not like to hear the reality. Sitting on their sofas, whether they have limousines or not, or go to college, or sport brats, poor or sick, on drugs or not. You're not normal people. And if I'm a candle in the wind, I ain't gonna survive this shit. Especially if you send me psychos. Stick in the Roman tribunal. So, 147 to 221 is all I have left of geological rebirth, which is basically 2 slots of the social security number. After that, in the genetic freak schools of the UN, I shall not exist. I'm not reborn. Is it? Chicka chicka cha, chicka chicka chippa cha, pucha cha. It doesn't exist. Right. Now, about the boys or whatever they call them, the relics of that girl after you smashed her head in on the coastlines, they're in other agencies. I have seen them in the US, in very specific spots, in places which were very advanced and interdit to the public. And only for brief, fleeting seconds. And quite frankly, I don't think they're here. You know why? Because they can only see this. They can only see fat, ugly men who think that having muscle or a PhD is going to save them. Ubermensch are not you, my relics. You smashed. What you lost on the coastlines was the big shit, according to everyone on the planet. Even the fucking religious orders. Okay? So thank you for smashing my head in. Thank you for smashing the leader of the space science shit on the coastlines. For nicht, US. Literally. And we're staying in Rome for retirements. That's not the parents either. Do you understand that or not, US? Because we can go back to kindergarten for the ghosted child after you smashed her head in on the coastlines. Again, with the little nails or news on the news. Fresno is Fresno for the parents. With the hanging benches of Lara Quintus and Ali Rec, that many flyings on 92 and above of the original Jamila, the many runnings of the original Jamila, and the crawlers and electric crawlers of their car. That many. You are ugly inside because, I will repeat, when they bring back Disneyland like that, this rosy thing, the safety baby, it shows that you are not only not the intel, you're just assholes and haters. Your government is losing on, I don't know if they're doing it on purpose anymore. They've given up. They've given up on you assholes. They've given up on you. Not on me. They've given up on you. The day you can reopen that shit, not some fucked up Mossadian bank, let me know. I'm dead. Officially. And that's not the barons. You, bang, you smash my head in, what the fuck you want? And don't bring back this Disneyland thing to make this shit look with the nails around the capital city. It's bad. Connected those globals. Just for that. Okay? And now, one more split second of life, and finally I'm out of this fucking shithole. You can't even go to fucking kindergarten to figure out this basics. You fucking no! There's a Scotland film, and they're serious about this shit. They're serious. I'm sick of hanging out with your assholes. On the ground list is one thing. On the lateral clause is a completely different thing with these assholes. You assholes and bitches. I don't give a shit if you're 10 PhD. If you can reopen that shit, you're welcome. If you can even go near 50 Ubermensch, you're welcome. Otherwise, fuck off. And that's just for me. Because those guys, if you smash the head of something like that with those buildings, you have empty buildings, you have Jason Bournes. Somewhere else, it's illegal, what you did on the Ghost Lines. So they said, okay, that's phenomenon, that's it. So now you involve the Opus Dei, the Vatican, the whole shit blasting me and saying that the Americans are a bunch of cheapos to my face at the age of 5. How the fuck do I feel with the Scotland film? You retards. You could put Disneyland out there, you still hate her. With your fucking psycho bitches. And that's not even the parents. You know what? Fuck you. No. To each his own. To each his own.